thing.
Yeah, she just muted.
Is it muted? No?
Nope. Now you are.
Do a good job getting that stuff set up.
But they're
Wire.
not good.
We are recording. We are Facebook Live. Apparently, we cannot do Facebook and YouTube. So we are
They're not.
Facebook Live.
If you get close to that microphone,
Yeah, but it's still,
push through the door.
Oh, I can hear y'all fine.
okay.
All right, I can hear you.
Are we on?
Yes, sir. We're on. We're live.
All right, we're at 12:30 p.m. Sheriff's report, and the sheriff is here to discuss the purchase of used vehicles. It's the first line item. Thank each one that's joined and all the committee members that are here and all the staff that's prepared for getting us live on Facebook and whatever else that we're on that the media can listen in on. So Sheriff, would you discuss the purchase of used vehicles, what you have in your mind?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Squire Box. I'm gonna pass around two photographs. I only have two copies. As we've dealt with many times before, we've tried to get some used vehicles into play, gentlemen, ladies, for a variety of reasons. Many times they go to support staff like school resource officers, detectives, things of that nature. Most recently, we've got a car that's being driven by a resource officer that's got 202,000 miles on it. And it is facing about $3,700 worth of repairs. That exceeds its NADA value. So I would recommend or suggest that, and you guys have done business for years with vehicles, it's probably a wise idea that we find another vehicle to replace that rather than nickel and diming us to death. So I've got on the computer. We've been watching these things for several weeks. That's a picture of two vehicles right there that I'm passing around. I think the total there, Mark, what's the total in the green?
$33,290.
That's two vehicles. One of them is 2013 Chevrolet. The other one's 2014 Ford Explorer. The other thing, we saved some parts from the Ford Explorer so we can put the screen dividers in the consoles and drop some lights and stuff that we already have. So going with that Ford model, put that on the street, it helps us a lot. So basically, make a long story short, I'm approaching the budget committee to ask for approval for money to make this purchase in Chicago. Now, the one thing about it is, if we could somehow move a little quicker, this gentleman's market is so aggressive. He will not hold these vehicles. Okay, he has them. I talked to him this morning. They're on the ground, but he's asking me, and he's not being smart. He's very polite, very easy to work with. We bought 4 or 5 vehicles from him in the past, and I see his point. The used vehicle market, if y'all done any research at all, is aggressive on the civilian side, on the police side. It's very competitive right now. So what I'm saying is, we have the funds for this. I believe we talked to the treasurer and the judge. We have the funds for this. This will fill 2 holes for us. And then, of course, upcoming, we've got plans again for another new one, maybe after first year. We got to talk about that later on sometime. But basically, the question before us today is, will you give me permission to move forward on the purchase of these 2 vehicles for our law enforcement officers?
This is in the alcohol account. The money's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the money's in your budget,
It's accessible, yes, sir.
it's accessible, and if that be the case, I see no reason why we can't move on this.
We already seen that his budget is very well, the first 3 months, and he's following water right along even better than was projected. So, and then the judge saying that some money can come out of the alcohol fund for this. So we already know that that's account specific. So, I don't have no problem for sure. Billy, do you?
No, that sounds
have
good
any
to me.
problem? what we would want to do, I guess if it's already in the budget, Judge, we're agreeing on it. Does it have to go to the fiscal court?
Yeah, any purchase will have to go to fiscal court, but what I'm saying is, that's not actually in this budget. This is something that is needing to replace. That money will come out of the alcohol and not affect his budget.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't want you to misunderstand that that's a budget line item. Now, I think we do have a new car. Do we not or do we have a line item for a new car?
Well, that's the plan, Judge.
Yeah.
And if I can expound on that with just 2 sentences, I've contacted Chevrolet to get the updated quotes for 2021 because they changed models. Okay.
Yeah.
So it went up a little bit, but the thing that we'll come back and talk about later, not today, is it's a 3-month delivery time. So along about December, we need to talk about a new Tahoe because we can't be running on a totally used fleet. We can't do that.
Okay.
But it's gonna, even if we ordered it, gentlemen, ladies, in December, earliest delivery date is late March or early April. Okay, so we've got times to get that taken care of.
So on these two,
Yes, sir.
you've got one that's basically down now that you don't want to do that repair, correct? And
Well-
for sure, one's going in immediately if it can be purchased, correct?
Yes, sir. We're gonna get them.
And the second one, is it gonna be, you're looking at 2 used, correct?
Mhm.
So the second one, is it gonna be like a standby vehicle ready to go if one goes down, or is it needing to be straight in the force right
No,
now?
we're gonna do some rotating to where the best suited SRO, and then we've got one road man that the car's in bad shape. And what we're gonna do is take one of those older ones and move it to the back as a fill-in car in case one breaks down. And it has 200,000 miles.
Okay,
on
well,
it.
that's what I was wanting to suggest, if these two, if you're gonna be able to put these two in and have a fill-in, if not, keep looking the rest of the year since it's aggressive, and let's go ahead and try to have one more already purchased sitting there ready to go, because we know you're gonna need it, and then still look at the new one, but let's not get in a bind to where we're having a crunch time. We know you're gonna use it, we know you put tons of miles, and there's vehicles that are constantly coming out, and then you won't be, is that, guys, you see what I'm saying? It'd be like my business, I want to try to have a van ready to go, because you're down it. I mean, you can't do anything if you don't have that, and then you start putting, your other staff's having to do double because there's not that vehicle to run in, so I don't know.
So I guess my only question is, what do we need to do today to get this moving where he can go purchase?
Well, obviously, everything has to be approved by fiscal court. You all can make that recommendation to the court. We can call a special call meeting to get that done via Zoom.
Okay.
We can do it. We have to have a 24-hour notice. So, but just to answer that question as the budget, I got the budget. There is not one budgeted a new car in this budget. And Sheriff, I was leaning on you to maybe remember that. I didn't know.
Okay.
I had forgot.
Well,
Anyway, we've got the alcohol money to fall back on. So,
Right.
and I guess that's why we did not budget a new.
Because you got that in a,
Yes.
okay,
yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
so,
Well, I think we need to do,
So how quick do you need to respond to this guy with the 2 cars?
like yesterday, I guess.
Billy's right. I mean, literally, I've called him every day this week because here's what, he won't hold them. And I'm just betting on, because here's how the game changes. I showed you the total.
I got it,
If one of those vehicles is bought today,
then it goes down.
that total changes
Mhm.
because I need 2.
Mhm.
Right.
So whatever's coming up on that internet page, it may be changing in monetary value every day.
Mhm.
If one of those falls off, my next bid, and what we see, the Ford was how much money, 13.7.
3795
Okay, if it falls off, I may be looking at 14.5 on the
or
next
50.
or 50. And that's what I'm trying to say. Instead of me coming back and pestering y'all,
Yeah.
Okay,
either we move fast or you give me a ceiling price to say, hey, get 2 for this money or whatever. But the thing of it is, it changes every day, literally.
Well,
So-
is there such thing as, I mean, I have no problem with us doing, emergency meeting with court. And we can do that as quick as 24 hours. But my question is this, can you is there any way you can put a hold on them with X amount of dollars?
I've asked that. I've even asked him if I can mail him a $500 check out of my personal account, write him a check.
Just,
And he deviated from answering that.
Okay.
He didn't want to answer that because his customer market is so deep. Now, I'll call him as soon as we finish this meeting.
Right.
And ask him that question.
well, what I would do is, it went through one committee unanimously, and we just about to follow the rules, and we'll get with the judge and jury when they can just immediately, that we can zoom,
We
it
can't
can be
do
at
it.
night, all we need
Yeah,
to
we
do
can't
is
do it
get
till
officially.
Tuesday, probably,
No, 24 hours. So
24 hours.
Right now,
I
it's,
mean-
it's 12:41. If you all want to go ahead, sure, you'll go ahead and put the notice
Yeah.
out now if you want to do it.
I
And
say
then we
we-
can zoom at home, at
Yeah.
whatever
1 o'clock
time.
will give you your 24 hours. Y'all good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you'll have to just go back to that guy and say,
Tell
hey,
him.
we've approved it here, and we got one more
Hold
approved.
for 24 hours.
How about
All
that,
right,
Sheriff?
so
That's
that's got
get
that.
done.
Hey, buddy, that's cool.
Okay.
But as we're talking on this line item,
Mhm.
and it's that aggressive, and then should we still give him the authority to keep looking? Not that we're making you do use, but to keep looking for that use too, even though we know a new one's coming.
Well, you don't, and I'm not trying to be smart, and y'all interject it. You don't even have to cover that base, Squire, because it costs us no money for me to look. I can look every day and I can come to you and say, hey, fellas, I found one of these. I found one of these. Then you can either deny or approve whether you get it. I can come to you, let's say, hey, I want another budget meeting 2 weeks from now. Hey, fellas, I found me another car. Well, Sheriff, we can't do that right now, or, okay, that's a good idea. You see what I mean?
Right.
But I want you to know, unless they disagree with me, that we want you to aggressively be, not that we've got to get in this bind again. And have
Right.
one setting there. It'll be used, because there's gonna be one going to the mechanic that you didn't know.
In Sheriff's defense, he's always looking.
No, I'm not
Especially
saying
with
he's
the
not,
Equipment, yeah, he's always.
but he may not know that we'd be willing him to have one.
Yeah, especially you're saying, Sheriff, you need a car, let's buy it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And where he can have 100% one ready to go on the road. Then when you got your one that needs the 4 tires or needs the service for a full day or two, let that be at the service. And then you got this one to go immediately on and let them run it and get it serviced right. Because if it's like mine, I'm rushing mine in and tell them to get it as quick as you can. I need it back.
Right.
Instead of really getting, check the brakes good. Do the 100% service instead of just a quickie, because usually it's quickies because I need mine back and you need yours back.
Yes.
Just something to think about. I don't know. I know you've got, you look, but you may not know in the back of your mind that that's what I would like to see.
And that's great, Squire. I've just never had that latitude, but explained that way, yes, sir, I can do that. Yeah.
Billy, do you see?
Huh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right, and, I would just follow up with Jeff there's comment, with the way you manage your department.
Yeah,
You look ahead, and I think the money's gonna be there.
well, as good as he runs his
Right.
department, we don't have to worry about the
That's
money.
right.
Absolutely.
He's always done this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We want you to know that. Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay,
I
so
tell him every day.
we know that line item 1, we got it covered. Judge is gonna call a special call. That's gonna get done. We got about 15 minutes on our line item. Let's go to line item 2,
Yes.
and let's talk about what you want to present
Okay.
on your pay raise.
I am looking at, on my packet, page 3 at the bottom, because I'm only dealing with those 4 little figures there at the bottom. Because what I'm talking,
We don't have
Well,
that, do we?
yeah,
Well,
underneath the sheriff's on this,
so he's
we
got it.
added, yeah, he's just got it in different
Yeah,
formats.
you're talking about
Yeah.
him, okay. I
As
got
long as we can
So
see what he's talking
I
about.
didn't put the weekly on theirs, I just put the yearly.
I'm interested in yearly, so I'm
Okay.
not, weekly's too confusing.
Okay, that's good.
Because gentlemen, we deal with a yearly budget, okay? All you guys vote, we propose budgets for the year, okay? Basically, in summary, do you see a figure there that's $24,999?
We do.
Yes, yeah.
That is a figure, and the treasurer and I have been back on this back and forth, many conversations. She's printed this for me. She's run all the numbers. That is a projected 3% raise for my employees without fringe. Okay, the figure near that or below that is a 36,786. Yeah. Okay, that is a yearly figure with fringe. So in summary, I'm proposing a 3% raise for the sheriff's office, and that will cover our employees, and it will only increase the budget by 36,786.03 entirely. That's fringe, everything. So a 3% raise for the sheriff's office is going to encompass 36,786, if that makes any sense.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And it doesn't matter, is it gonna be across the board, or are you gonna do it, it comes in and you're gonna take it as like managers may get some, or more so, or how are you gonna do that?
Well, predominantly, I do a verbal evaluation. I don't do a lot of paperwork evaluations. Evaluations I haven't, paperwork evaluations I really got into. To get to the meat of your question, predominantly it's across the board. Not all time, but as a majority of history, it's across the board.
Okay. And two, that's just for deputies, right?
Not everybody that works.
Well, that's just the deputies, because that has its own line item.
Right, the 36.
Then you got the bailiffs
Right.
on a separate,
Bailiffs aren't in that.
yeah, that's separate.
Yeah, the bailiffs aren't in that.
This is just your sheriff's
Right.
It
deputies.
says deputies.
This is a deputy on there, is that it?
That's just,
Okay,
Well, you can look at the.
yeah,
other
then
line
that
item
figure
up
right
here.
there will be your bailiffs and part-time deputies.
Okay, so then I'm short that much on bailiffs.
No,
Because
Now, see, you have
No.
a total, your budget for the deputies is,
11,000.
yeah,
that's right.
but it's not included in that 36,000.
So 36,000 doesn't cover civilians and or,
That's just your sheriff's deputies.
okay.
That's
well,
it.
Then we need to submit
But-
another figure then.
But they have their own budget line items.
Right.
That's correct.
But
Well, I think the way we're looking at this, in fact, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, if we look at the line items here, sheriff's deputies, if you continue on the way you're doing, you're gonna be 32,000 under budget. Okay, with this proposed here, it's gonna increase at 36, so we're gonna be a little bit over there. But on his bailiffs and PT deputies, he's 11,700 under for the year. And this is only increasing 7,600. If you look at the two, that'd be a wash.
if
Well,
it's
can I
correct,
say that 32,000 up there, that does not include fringe. So you're looking at that 24,999, he'll still be under budget.
So I should be comparing the 32 to the 24.
Yeah, it's
25.
without, yeah, this number up here is without.
Well, you're gonna be way under, because
Yeah.
that's 18,000.
Oh, yeah.
for the first three,
Yeah.
the way we're looking at it, first 3 months.
Yeah.
If it continues on,
Yes,
we're just, the first three look real good. Hopefully that continues.
Okay, no, let me make sure I'm clarifying, because I
Okay.
Right.
obviously didn't ask enough questions the first time.
Okay.
When I think of a 3% raise, I think of a 3% raise that will affect everybody that works on the sheriff's department. I'm talking about clerks, I'm talking
it
about.
does, but
secretary-
they each have their
We don't
own
have to do
account
that. Like the
number.
clerks, we just gave them a raise.
Oh,
Correct.
okay.
See, they all have a different, each line has a different account code, and they each have their own budget. So that's why I had to separate them separately, because when you do a 3% raise for your deputies, that comes out of this budget.
Mhm.
Then you do one for your bailiffs, that's gonna come out of this budget.
Mhm.
So I can't wrap them all together.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
And see, that's what I misunderstood when I approached you with 3% for the agency. I thought it would include everybody that's employed.
Well, I
including
mean, it
bailiffs.
does, but they each come out of their own separate line item. So we have to do those numbers separately, but it's still 3% across
Roger
the board.
I
So
know that, but the bottom line wouldn't be the same, because we
No.
didn't figure court deputies in that.
No,
can you not just, because this is all, we're in the meeting, even though you just got heard, you can present, are you wanting to add that 3% on the ones that you didn't realize that wasn't
That was
getting?
my intention.
I mean, we can still present that to the court.
I wanted to figure,
Can you give us a rough, I know
You
that's
guys
quick
have
right
them.
off the,
She's
you
got it.
have them on there.
but
They're just detailed. You have to take the sheriff deputy's line item and add to that
Bailiffs
the bailiff
Yeah,
and the process.
and the
so
process
that would
service.
be,
and I just didn't, I didn't.
Right,
total
so the
that.
total would be,
25, 40,
47,000.
no.
That's
Wait,
what we-
Are you gonna add the 36 and the 76?
no, you have,
36.
and process server.
And 43. And right now, that's about what you are when you add the two up here, 32 and 11. It's 43.
Well, it had to be figured on with a fringe in too, one.
Yeah, but Fringe has its own line item.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it's not.
So basically, we need to approve all line items, or at least present it to the fiscal court,
Yeah, I'll give
Oh,
you the
yes.
total here in just a
Right.
second.
and what he wants
In order for you,
to do.
and you're thinking, Sheriff King, if I'm understanding you correctly myself, you're wanting a 3% raise across the board, anybody that works for the sheriff's department that reports to you.
that's the way I figured it,
Okay.
Mark.
Unless they've already been in one of these, that they've got a raise or something, and
And that's.
Is that including?
Right, I think it's just the logistics here.
Okay, so the increase, without Fringe
well, you-
is 34,000. 470. 80. I added that right.
and that's
31.
without,
That's without Fringe.
and that's just adding all them up.
Yeah, that's just adding those in
Oh,
there
yeah.
together.
Part-time people get fringe? Let's see, my court bailiffs are part-time.
Yeah, and I have,
Are you talking about court?
I have
They
not,
gonna get you two? What you saying?
Well, I figured that way all the time.
but whenever I did all these numbers, I only
What's the
put
total
Fringe on
on
the people who got Fringe.
I
Which
understand.
fringe, you got that, yeah.
Well, no, because.
Hold on, I'll get it in just a second.
See, Joe, it comes out of alcohol, budget.
He's not really in the discussion.
So she'll know how to,
That's just a figure right
Yeah.
there.
if we get it
Yeah.
approved, she's gonna know how to,
If I can explain it.
with
she-
her, y'all figure out how you want it.
Yeah, if I can explain it, Jeff, she'd know.
Okay, with Fringe is 47,388.33.
All right. So now Jenny, explain, the 47.3, all right, so how much of that does he currently have to cover that in his budget? That's the question.
Well, if you look at it line item for line item, you look at the sheriff's deputies.
Right, 32.
I mean, right now, he's got it, and right now, he's got plenty in his budget to cover all of it. But if you want to look at the projections, which we can, but those numbers may vary depending on overtime or
Right.
not. And also, let me interject here too as well, that we are working on, and hopefully by the next court date, I'm going to have all those figures of the overtime for COVID. That's going to be put back in these budgets.
That's what
So,
we were wanting.
so I think that in all of them, he's going to be really good.
So
in
with us
everything.
asking you, you're feeling confident in what he's
Yes.
proposed.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay,
If my numbers are correct, if you do it 47, and the projection we have at the end of the year, it will be 44,938 under budget. So,
Including the 47.
no. That's for the end of the year. Okay, if that's with no overtime, that's from now to the end of the year. Okay.
That's basically, he's gonna be able to
Yeah,
watch.
he'll be in a wash. If we put that overtime back in his budget, that's where that wash is gonna come.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that would just be.
That's only a difference of $2,450.33.
Right, and,
You know,
well, I think that becomes a management issue, and we don't have to discuss that with
No.
Sheriff King, because we
Yeah.
manage so well.
and we're not even taking consideration for revenue, Frank. You
Right,
know, that his inspection, I'm like, wow, that up. So,
Okay.
I hope you're hearing that today.
Well, I hear it, I just gotta make sure we understand.
Well, it's a learning process for me.
Yeah, me too.
So we know what we're doing, guys. We need, do I have
Two
a
motions?
motion? Well, first of all, let's get a motion on the,
Two
the
cars?
vehicle.
I moved.
Okay, Mark makes that motion
I'll second.
and Billy seconds, and then all in favor is aye. Aye. Okay, line item 2, we're gonna make, the motion on the 4 line items of his, pay raise, what he's suggesting to us with the Jenny saying, the figures that she's got brought out. Do we go on and it's gonna be 47,138? Is it
47,388,
33?
33.
Okay. So I need a motion on, for us to bring to the court, fiscal court. to get this approved.
I'll make that.
All right, Billy,
I'll second.
Mark second, all in favor, aye, and I say
Aye.
aye. The motion carries. Sheriff, thank you for the good job and the
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
report.
appreciate
And your numbers are looking very well, and we will, that's all the line items we got for you, so officially, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
sir.
Tracy, ready for the coroner to come in? If you want to come
a special call meeting, scheduled 1 o'clock tomorrow.
in. Okay.
Zoom. Notice has already been set out.
Thank you.
1 o'clock tomorrow on Zoom.
That's good. It's quick.
All right.
Well, we've got Sherry Jones, she gets on stuff like that.
The ball. Okay. I talked with him. He just got budget line items. He didn't spec or didn't tell me any.
I got
There he is. Hey. Thank you. I think we're on time and.
Hey, how you
appreciate that. We've got,
Pretty good.
still okay, Tracy?
Yes, y'all good, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, coroner, for coming in and, got a line item, a budget line item. If, you have anything you want to present to the committee, we're here and wanting to listen to you today.
Right, I've got something that I'm working on. I've been in contact with another county, and it is getting developing an indigent death fund. And I've been in touch with Hardin County Coroner's Office, and they have a very, very good fund for indigents that just absolutely have nothing. The county, we have actually, this year, we've had to pay for 1 cremation, and which is good. We've been very, very fortunate that we've been able to find enough family or support somewhere to take care of a deceased individual. We have buried one at the county cemetery this year. But his funeral, the cost was paid by a friend of his. So that worked out, or we would have had to pay that. This that Hardin County has is just in a nutshell. I'm gonna work on it for a while. I don't think it's anything we want to do before January or July.
You bring that to Mark, he was out, what is it?
Right.
It's an indigent care fund for that the county can set aside some money in order to pay for individuals that the families don't have anything, or they're either unidentified or unclaimed bodies.
And how much have we incurred this year?
How much what?
How much have we incurred along those lines this year?
Well, I was just telling them, so what, just this year.
The 3 months.
For 3 months, we have paid for 1 cremation. And we have buried 1 individual out at the county cemetery. And this gentleman's funeral was actually paid for by a friend of his. So we've been very fortunate to be able to track down family,
Right.
you know, If you got Facebook, don't ever do anything, because we'll find you.
Mm,
I found some families a couple of years ago, the last name was Smith. And we run them down. But,
So how much money did Park County set aside?
well, Hardin County, Elizabeth
Hardin
County,
County, I'm
right.
sorry.
Well, now they set aside $6,000 a year. They have a fund and, you know, if they draw a little out of it over the year, they just put it back to 6,000. So, you know, the cost will be an initial, investment of money into a fund. And I'm thinking right now for here, 2,500 would probably be enough that we could start with.
do you know how they're doing the fundraising? Are they doing like a fundraising? or
No,
is it
the
part-
county budgets that money
It's
into
just
the
budget
coroner's budget.
Or do they put that on some type of?
Yeah, no, it's just budgeted in with the coroner's budget. It's a line item on their budget.
And it just stays there
And
in a
it
pot?
just stays there in a pot.
Did it-
That's the
Does
only
that-
thing it's for
all
there.
right, in order for that money to be spent out of that account, then does it go before a board or just the coroner make that decision?
No, there's actually, the coroner makes a decision, but there's an application process
Okay,
that, what family you can find if they say, you know, hey, we just don't have nothing, we don't have any money, we've got this application you fill out. And if they meet the guidelines of this application, then, you know, the funds can be expended to take care of the loved one. And and what they do is the county actually sends out bid packets to all the funeral homes within the county. And they get prices on, it's just direct cremation, picking up the body, doing the cremation, doing the death certificate. And, you know, there's obviously no funeral, no embalming, no anything. There's nothing there. It's just strictly straight cremation.
Who was doing this before?
Well,
And what happened to them then? I mean,
well, like I said,
Thank you.
we've been fortunate to find family that will step up to the plate and pay for things. And we had one here not too long ago that we had to pay for the cremation on. The family
Give
was,
us an idea what it costs.
Yeah, give us some numbers on the one you had to bury and then the one you had to cremate, so we can kind of see.
well, as far as the burial, other than the county barn going up there with the backhoe and digging the grave, you know, we wasn't out any money wise.
But it's still, in a sense, somebody had to go, you know,
Sure. And
you get the county barn to do the digging.
yeah, they usually go up and
It's still,
dig the grave for us. You know, they're out a little bit of time there doing that and covering the grave back up.
Mhm.
They have a board or plat or something out there at the county barn that has the names of the individuals, so you know where they're at, because there's no, some of them's got headstones and the little markers that the funeral homes put out, but you know, we don't expend any money for that.
Okay.
The cremation in question at the time was $500. And now, if, you know, we choose to bid this out, it could be more, it could be less. I think Hardin County's was like $653 for cremation. And you know,
something from Social Security?
yeah, no,
okay,
Social Security
So-
pays $250 to one person. If you're married, one of you is the only one that gets that.
so in defense, I'm kind of looking at the first 90 days, you've already had that one hit of 500, so we can kind of see your report here, so you're pretty close to in line. If that hadn't been on that, you were kind of, under a little bit, but if you throw the 500 that you had, so
Of course, we would.
that helps us see that,
Yeah.
knowing that number that Mark asked for, I wouldn't have any idea what that.
You know, that was something unanticipated.
Right.
And I knew this was coming. We were gonna have to do something because the days and times now, you know, not as many people as should plan for that end. Sure, there are a lot, you know. Oh, and I'd ask somebody, just bury me under a tree, and
Yeah,
throw me
I
in the
know.
ditch. Well, you can't do that.
yeah, you hear a lot of them asking for donations.
Yeah.
at Funeral home.
They will. They'll get on Facebook and do GoFundMe pages and, you know, if they're making an effort to get the money, that's one thing. They can do that if they work it out with the funeral home. Also, the county has the ability to seize or take into their possession anything that the deceased may have of any worth anything, belongings, furniture, vehicles. You know, the county can, if we have to expend money, we can impound all of that. And you have to keep it for, I think it's a year.
Mm.
And at the end of that time, then the county can sell it and recoup that money and put it back into that account.
So right now, we don't have that.
No.
But
we don't
another
have
account, Hardin has that something that's.
Hardin has that. There's some other counties. I'm gonna talk to them and get what they've got.
I think it's a good idea that you're looking at that, and I know we just have to figure out, like, if you got in a situation where we could store it, I'm sure storage is kind of hard to
The
do.
thing with storing, well, belongings, but also the thing with storing bodies. Of course, Hardin County, you know, they've got a nice facility. They've got coolers, freezers, big office space and all that stuff that they can keep bodies. Yeah, they've got a A1 facility there. And they actually hold bodies for a great length of time to give any family to come up with enough money to deal with a funeral home of their choice to do cremation or direct burial.
Or actually have a funeral when the whole family can get there. I guess.
If they can pay for it.
Right.
Right. Now, the county's not going to pay for any type of services or visitation or anything like that at all. It's either you've got the money, you do it yourself, or if we have to do it, we're either going to direct bury you or we're going to cremate you. And that's it. Nothing in the paper, no nothing.
I'm sure the funeral home
I guess,
is lost on that too. I know Follis did.
The funeral homes are, you know, it's tough. I mean, you know, and they're in a business just like everybody else. I mean, if we just had to say,
Yeah.
well, okay, we'll do it for nothing, how long could you stay in business?
Right.
And it's getting more and more. It's been a while, but I had a funeral home in another county, had came to the residents and talked to the family about the money. They got in the car and left.
Mhm.
And I had to take the body to the hospital and put them in their morgue until, you know, they could come up with funds or another funeral home or something to deal with. And I'm afraid that's gonna get more and more as you know, funeral homes have got to at least cover their costs.
so I guess the bottom line to this is, right now, he does not have a line item in his budget for this, correct?
Right.
Correct.
All right, and in order to create a line item and put it in the budget now, would not that money have to come from another line item that he currently has?
Well, I don't see us doing it right now.
You're
until-
just
I'm looking
talking.
at July 1st.
You're just looking,
July, next,
I'm looking at next fiscal
you're
year.
looking at presenting that possibly as a line
Okay.
item.
Yes.
Next-
And you're
Yes.
gonna have the homework, because you already gave
Right.
quite a bit of the homework.
Right. I've still got a lot more to do. I just actually got all of this in yesterday and I've just glanced over it. So I've got some more phone calls I want to make. See if I can get 2 or 3 different counties and how they do it. And they would take all that and incorporate it to Barron County. That would benefit us and the community too. Because we absolutely do not want to get into the habit of burying people.
Right.
That's not our job.
Oh, that's right.
And the guidelines that Hardin County has is very, very strict. You know, if you have basically any assets at all, they're not gonna spend any money to pay for the,
Right.
for the burial cremation. And
Yeah, we need to probably get
it
this.
is, it's getting more and more all the time.
So you're probably need to get with Catherine on all this too.
It is, and actually,
See how they're doing in other counties.
Hardin County, told me yesterday that their county attorney, charged a couple with a misdemeanor for failure to pay. Because they went to the funeral home, yeah, we'll pay it, we'll get the money back and forth, back and forth. They was gone,
Mm.
never showed up, wouldn't answer calls, and they actually charged them with a misdemeanor for that. I think they wound up paying all of it. And, you know,
Well, thank you for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want
want
to
you
come to
And
that,
that's
but
how
you-
you, I know me and Tim goes to the conferences, and we asked other masters, what do y'all do on this? You mow or you not mow? You know, there's stuff like
Sure.
that. So you just figure out to just weigh it in. Some
Right.
counties it may work. Some, I know they're bigger. sure, you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, Hardin County's already done like 800 calls this year. And they were up. We're up. We're at 143 right now.
what were we last year?
Oh, I'd have to look to be sure, but I think we're probably 20 ahead maybe from last year. And thank the good Lord for hospice, because if it wasn't for hospice,
It'd be,
we'd have to have help. Absolutely. And you know, of course, you're dealing with the COVID thing now, and it doesn't affect us that much as a cause of death. 99.9% of the time, you die of COVID, you're in the hospital. And we don't deal with in-hospital deaths. You know, I have had one that died at home that was a contributing factor. But you still got to take all the precautions and, you know, masks and everything like you do if you were in the hospital. But all that's coming along good. We're doing good with that so far. Not having a lot of problems with it.
well, thank you for your service. I know it's, not like a funeral director. It's not the funnest job to have in situations, but just thank you for that. And being able to comfort the families. Do you have any other questions for us as we move along?
Well, I think as far as right now, what I'm seeing in the budget, I think we're all right. I know we're a little tight on repairs. And unfortunately, we had to replace some calipers and brakes and stuff on the, excuse me, on the van. One of them seized up, ruined the rotor. So anyway, the rotors were under warranty, so we had 2 new rotors and calipers and brakes and all that. So far, we've been very fortunate with just services, oil changes and stuff. So I look for about 2 more services this year, this fiscal year. So, you know, $100 for that. So, you know, we're all right. You can take, you know, a little money from something else that's ahead and shuffle it around. It all comes out the same pot. It just may not be on the same line. But I think we're all right as far as that goes. And of course, I'm like all the other department heads, you know, everybody would like to have a raise. And I know the judge and I have talked about this quite a bit, and I don't, until the Commonwealth mandates it, the coroner will never be compensated in the manner that he should be compensated. And who knows whether they will do that or not. This year, the coroner in Barron County could have maxed at $77,624.97. And if it wasn't for the judge stepping out and bumping it up 2 years ago, it wouldn't even be what it is now. And I know people probably think that, well, he's not in his office every day. No, I'm not. But you know, I was out after midnight the other night and
I know.
headed to Louisville at 8:30, actually that night. And I would like to think with the coroner's years of experience, this is my 24th year, that it would warrant a little better pay than what it is. And I don't expect nothing this fiscal year. Not going to ask for anything this fiscal year. Hopefully it's something March or April when we're doing budget for next. We can sit down and have a real discussion about it.
We will make sure that happens, and this time, make sure you have plenty of time to present
You know,
to the committee.
oh, I appreciate it. I thought we were going to have a little something in Frankfurt this last session, but that didn't happen. And I think the COVID's come in and that just kind of killed everything. And I
We'll
know,
just make sure you're getting, and I'm sure you have, and they've asked us any kind of related to COVID that you get with
Oh,
Jenny
yeah.
and them, and let's see if we can't
absolutely.
get you reimbursed if there's such, So that for sure needs to happen. Yeah, you have anything else and we're gonna move on, and I'm not trying to rush you, but
No, right now, I'm down a deputy. I had a deputy to resign the end of September. I'm in the process of looking for another deputy. I actually talked to a candidate yesterday. And probably I'm not going to do an appointment until the first of the year. And that will save us the salary of October, November, and December. Because when you appoint a new one, they will have to go to Corner Basic, which is a week-long class in Frankfurt. So these 3 months of salary will help offset the cost of motel room, travel, food, and such as that. And I don't even know how that's gonna look this year. I don't know that I've heard anybody from the state or the Corner Association address how we're gonna do
the training.
the training this
Yeah.
year with, all this mess going on. We'll just have to wait and see. All the Corners training this year is, we got 3 hours of online to do. We haven't had any in-service, in-person stuff. Corners Conference was canceled back in April, that I used to go to every year to take my training there. So anyway, that's what we're doing this year. Governor signed off on that. So
You got.
so hopefully next year will be brighter things. And yeah, we can kind of get back to some kind of normal.
Mark, you and Billy got any other questions?
Appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
Good job during the county.
Well, thank you. I hate for us not to have a corner and somebody die and nobody come and take care of it.
But we will make sure, when we start getting together, that we're gonna give you, make sure we get our time slots a little bit better.
And I'll have more information with this indigent care program, and we can go forward with that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, see you.
See you now.
All right. Mr. Kenneth Sarton, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Tim, sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
I apologize.
It
is advertised.
That's the way to advertise.
It's joint meeting.
Or do you want me to continue on, or you want?
No.
jail. All right, it's a little past our 1:15. It's 1:23. We got the jailer Aaron Bennett, my committee, me and Martin Billy and Kennesaw and Tim Coomer is in here on the jailer committee. We just got a joint committee and we're gonna just turn it over to Aaron and present what you have for us, and thank you and your staff for being here.
All right, and thank you all for having us. We really do appreciate it. First, I just want to show, this is just a slide that at your last finance committee meeting that Jenny presented, and it was, numbers are 100% correct. They're exact.
They are?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You do.
Very good. And knowing that those numbers are exact, I know I heard Master House saying we got to come up with a plan. We were working on a plan already, and trying to get this corrected. So we're very happy you had us here today. This is right here, just a breakdown of the first quarter and a little bit into the second quarter as we're going. Week of 15th of August, we did just kind of bring you together where some of this stuff went to. We sent an entire shift home for 3 days due to COVID testing. Then a week of September 12th, we had holidays. We had Labor Day then. And of course, we had the overtime of 71.5 hours, and we also had some hospital runs in there. September 19th through October 16th, that's when COVID hit the jail. And that's where it really affected us, hard right there. That was active COVID cases, and that resulted in a loss of manpower and overtime. We had quite a few deputies that also got that, unfortunately.
Okay. I can ask a question here.
Yes, sir.
I know that there have been expenses for COVID that have been sent for repayment.
Yes.
Was these hours included in that, the 121, 223?
Those hours will be included. I'm actually working on right now, the numbers to get our second reimbursement
Okay.
for COVID. So
We
these
haven't.
numbers are
Not
not
the
done
first.
These
yet.
numbers, all right, so you had other numbers before this that was sent?
Yes,
Yeah, we haven't had any more. This one here is the second group that hasn't been reimbursed for.
But you had others in the first round.
If we did, it was just hit and miss a
I
few.
don't know, but we'll get into that when I start working on that.
Okay.
We'll definitely
Yeah,
dive
we
into
need
that.
to we need to know.
Payroll expenses year to date, once again, this is the first quarter and also a little bit going into the second quarter here, so that's where we're at right now with that. Second quarter projections with no changes or anything like that. Unfortunately, that's what we're wanting to do, but if we keep going on the path that we're going to be on, we're still going to be on the same bad path that we're on. So, that's definitely not a good thing. So you can see there at that bottom right-hand corner.
240.
Yes, sir. So
So
that's
when
what,
you're saying that continuing on the COVID path
yeah, COVID
is
and
what's gonna make it.
COVID and also
So
like we
that's
talked
what
about.
you're saying is causing your.
No, that's not the only
Okay.
thing. And we'll get
Just
into
wanna
it here.
make sure. Okay.
Here are some more slides. Factors that affect payroll. Of course, this year we had 2 deputies that retired in the first quarter there. That was a total of about $8,025 in the vacation time paid out. Vacation and sick time. Full-time employees, as you all know, they get 8 hours of vacation and 4 hours sick per month. And as of August 2020, there's a total of 2,405 and a quarter hours total vacation hours that were on the books. And then there's another 1,012 total hours of sick time. So that, and the deputies, and this is just an average about 370 hours total used each month from them taking off, whether they're sick or taking vacation. Other factors that roll in is holidays. I put the KAR up here for y'all. And of course, y'all got a printout of it, but the jail at all times, it has to have four deputies working. That's 3 on the floor and 1 in the communications. And since we do have a female, or we do house females, one of those 3 on the floor has to be a female. So it's a minimum of 4 deputies per shift. And we have 2 shifts. They work 12-hour shifts. So on those holidays, you're looking at about 64 hours of overtime per holiday. So that's approximately $1,300, and we have 10 paid holidays per fiscal year. So just alone with the holidays and the deputies having to work at a skeleton crew, you're looking at $13,000 just for holidays. Then also this year, typically we had the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet contract where they go out with the state highway department, they pick up the roads and everything like that. Well, this year, up until July, they were still paying us, but they changed the contract that if you're not working, you don't get paid, which, you know, totally understand that. However, it's not seen in sight for our 2 road crews for the state highway department to go back out. I don't know. I guess they just don't have the money to be able to do that at this time.
I have a question on that one. And it may be my lot. I know I have to, you know, do the overtime. Is there any way to look at incentives on this holiday that you could trade out, like give them and not have to get that overtime so hard? And it may not be the law. I don't know what the law is there, but you say you got Christmas coming and you look and say, hey, this bunch, I want y'all to work this bunch. We trade out, we give you a day here to where we can watch that overtime.
Yeah, if we can do that. Yeah, we're
If you
definitely trying to
can,
flex
because
that
that's
time.
part of
Yes, sir.
that, you know, because most employees would want, you know, if you say, I'm gonna give you this day, and if you can work,
Yeah.
you know, and not get
Basically-
jammed up, and then
basically
give
just
them
what
an
you-
extra day, and you still gonna be on your head,
Yes.
and let them be off.
Yep.
It may not be Christmas Day, then do a trade-in. We try to do stuff like that and then not get the overtime.
Yes, sir.
So I guess I'm focused on that last item there, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet contract with state road crew. Sheriff Andrew, General Manager, you telling me that $210,000, that's what the state were paid for?
Well, that's how much they were allotted up to pay for the road crews going out.
Okay, but
But since they're not going out, we're not getting any of that money.
and we're not incurring any expense either.
No expense either.
All right, and then if we can stay along these same lines, I think I remember at the end of the budget, we amended it to add that 150,000 for the county,
Yeah.
for us.
Hey, yeah.
Well, and I
Pick up
think,
garbage, and we, I think the number I remember was $75,000 is what, but we put 150 in there.
well, I thought you all were gonna go back later on to look at the 150. I thought it was the 75, and then as time went on, to go back.
But that's money too, right? That it's not been incurred because
Yes.
we haven't been doing it.
Well, yeah, we haven't been doing it. We just now, this past Monday, because of COVID and whatnot, got those guys back out working. They're just now getting back out there and trying to play catch up, unfortunately, because they've been off. Initially, Department of Corrections didn't let any state inmates go out. We had to advise a plan at the jail to safely get them out. We had to meet certain criteria, and we're actually one of the few jails in the state that actually have county road crews out because.
I need to be clear. I guess to clear this up for me. I think we've got two situations here. We've got $210,000 that normally the state would give.
Yeah.
All right. And then in addition to that, we gave, we amended your budget by 150, $75,000 for that. So that's $285,000.
That's state road.
That's state road. This is for county. Yeah, this is for that. That was for the county roads. Yeah, the state roads, and even then, I mean, they had that much money, but if the guys went in and, worked that day, a half a day, they got paid for a full day type thing with the state.
But at the same time, since we've not been doing it, we've not incurred the expense. All right,
Nothing to do. Yeah, no wear and tear on vehicles or anything like that with the state highway department. Those vehicles haven't been out. None of the vehicles have really been out until just recently getting a road crews out.
But we have the people in management that's having to sit there because they're not having to be managing. That's the killer on us.
Yeah.
Because you see what, I can understand you, because
Right.
you're having to have these sitting in here ready to go out to manage these, and they're not there, and you probably don't really need them.
Yeah, and they're not
Because
letting
then
them
that's
go
where
out.
you're getting into, it's killer on you. I
Yeah.
understand that.
And that's what happens when they can't go
I guess
out.
that's-
And when COVID hit us, a month or so ago, Department of Corrections, once again, they can't go out to work. And we finally got that approval once our numbers came back down in the jail.
These people, they're qualified qualified, are they qualified to take these people on the road? Are they qualified to work in the jail?
Yes, sir. They're all sworn deputies and have
They'll
experience
fill
working
in
in the
where
jail.
you need, like, somebody's on.
Yes, sir.
So is that, and I guess it brings back to Carl mentioned back several months ago on some of this COVID stuff, is some of these people, can they not be laid off and then, and get that money that the COVID's gonna pay for the layoff? Because do you need that, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What
I
are you
don't know.
doing with them?
They're
You shouldn't have
working.
to have overtime if you got these guys are out there. They're already here
Right.
in the
Does that
pot.
Does that make sense?
You lost me a
Well, you
little
got
bit.
whoever's managing these road crews,
Yeah.
they're not out there managing them.
No,
You
they've
shouldn't
been
have to
inside
have
the jail.
overtime in this pot because you should be overstaffed.
Well, yeah, when COVID hit, what happened was when that COVID hit, we had anywhere between 7 and 10 guys off at one time. And it's those road crews that came inside trying to also cover for those 7 or, 10 that were off due to COVID. And a lot of them were off, some may have only been off 3 days before the health department released them and others was the 2 weeks.
So it sounds like to me, if you dig deep, if that's the case, then you should be able to be presenting a case of some money somewhere that's in the big pot that you should be able to get accounted for. Just for what you're saying. Now, I'm not saying,
Well,
if that's
with,
the
like,
case, if
Kentucky,
you had people off, but you should have been having layoffs.
Right.
Unless you have people that are sick with the COVID or couldn't come because of quarantine, then, and I know that's gonna be hard to figure all that out and get a number, but it looks to me like you either needed to have layoffs or you needed to have the people, you gotta present a case there to somebody if you're gonna wanna get reimbursement back.
for the
But that may
COVID,
have been what killed some of your look of this budget.
and that may have been.
Right.
That's just me talking.
Are you talking, replenish the money that's already been budgeted for state rent? Or are you talking about occurred overtime above and beyond?
Well, he needs to break down if he had.
We'll get into that on the slides. How many
Okay,
hours.
maybe I'm ahead.
Yeah,
Just,
I
we
think-
can talk about that. We got plenty of months to talk about all.
Yes, sir.
Just go on everything, and I'm sorry.
Then also factors have affected the payroll is just training for the deputies. As you can see the breakdown there. Basically what it comes down to is, each deputy gets 57 hours of training each year. And there's the KRA that goes with it for that. And we look at the cost because before they were coming in on overtime, basically each deputy is getting $18 an hour overtime, then, times that 57, you're looking at over $1,000 per deputy on the overtime. And here in the future slides, I'll show you how, correcting that also. This is a budget requested amendments on it. And these are the deputies that we're looking at, for their promotions. And I know you're going to have some questions on here. Once again, it'll all come together as the slides go on. The difference is you're looking at about $20,000 for a little over $20,000, the number on the bottom right. That's with this.
That's the increase?
That would be the increase, yes, Judge. And I know right now you're like, whoa, just bear with me here for a second.
Okay.
This is just the annual budget rank structure, how it's broken down. And it also has on there how many deputies per each one of those. So currently the deputies on the line item, we have the 966,000, and the bookkeeper's at 30,700. And if we could just combine them here on these sheets to go through here, once we have all the deputies on here, basically what that total number is right there at the bottom, the 981,304. So if you add those two line items together of the deputies and the bookkeeper, that's 996,000. So right there on that, from those two line items, we're just shy of 15,000 actually being in the good on that. And once again, this is just a bi-weekly breakdown of each one of these positions and all those positions. So bi-weekly, you're looking at paying out 37,742. Budgeted quarterly payroll, you're at $230,007.70. Budgeted bi-weekly payroll is $38,334.62 on that. So, and if you go there, that center number there, the 37 up there on the screen at the second to the bottom, basically 37,742. We're right underneath that. And then also for the estimated quarterly, we're at 226,454, which is under the 230.
I got,
Yes, sir.
if we could back up to your annual budget by rank structure,
Yes, sir.
right here. We're the 966, all right, and then if you look at what we're looking at, the 966 comes from the budget for 26
That's the
payroll
line item.
for the
Yes, sir.
jailer deputies.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the
Was
bookkeeper,
not the bookkeeper included in that?
no, bookkeeper's a
She was
separate,
separate. one.
that's a separate line item. Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
directly under that.
That's why you were able to break that out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is the ways to offset the payroll expense. You know, by increasing the number of the salary employees, it will be, what we're focusing on is decreasing that overtime, decreasing any type of overtime period. The salary employees, you know, they're going to be the first ones that, you know, cover the hospital runs. Unfortunately, we have a lot of hospital runs. We have a lot of these, you know, people call out on the weekends, you know, and people take vacation, they get sick. You know, we understand that getting sick is just, you know, part of it. But we're going to use those salary employees to offset that. Even myself, you know, it's no surprise to be called in, you know, can't find anybody to work, somebody called off, go in and cover a shift. Also, we did a,
How many salary employees do you have?
let's go back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank
Over here, okay. Then also right now, we're doing a week on and a week off. Basically, on Wednesday, some of the shifts will work 4 hours, other ones will have training, but then they work 40 hours. But basically, they're working, say if they work on a Wednesday, they'll work 12 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that pay period, which will give them that 40 hours. Then the next week, they'd work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 12 hours, and then 4 hours on Wednesday. So it gives them that 40 hours, but they're actually off, you know, Wednesday to Wednesday a week. In training, we got certified instructors in-house at training, so we don't have to pay for them to travel off-site. We don't have to pay for gas. We don't have to pay for a vehicle. We don't have to pay for anything like that. Every Wednesday is a training day. Basically, what we'll do is we'll pull in one of those shifts, and those salary employees, they will be the ones working the floor and covering that floor. So instead of them actually working on the floor those 4 hours, they'll be training 4 hours. So basically, we'll have the same training for about 4 to 5 weeks to get all the deputies covered on that. And the salary employees would be working a 12-hour shift to cover any type of expense or overtime. So we're eliminating that, and then it reduces the overtime. It ensures the training requirements are met by the state, provides that valuable knowledge that the deputies needs, and it does increase the morale, and it reduces the loss of the man hours.
So on all these things that you're listing, which is really good ways to offset payroll expenses, are these things that you are already doing or you're planning?
We're planning on and getting into it to do this, and some of them, the training was already started, then the whole COVID experience hit, and you just don't have the bodies to do it. The new hires, I just want to let you all know, anytime that somebody is hired new, they actually have a 2 weeks of new deputy training. You know, we sit them down, we don't say, here are the keys, he'll kind of show you what to do. We bring them in. This increases that deputy retention. Over the years, the jail has always struggled with retention issues, and hopefully this will decrease that turnover because now they're going in already feeling comfortable in their duties. Now also it provides that initial necessary training. Reimbursement from the commissary account. Currently, what we're doing is we have Kelly Deal. She's our instructor. She gives all the classes to the inmates. We're paying that salary. We're paying half the chief's salary. She does the SCORE program, was working with, and she was doing a lot of the scheduling, especially with the state inmates and their work crews and scheduling inside and outside of the facility. And that's what we're currently doing. So currently, you know, when we're looking at it from the commissary annually, you're looking at about being reimbursed $45,800 that way. The first and second quarter was of this, what we're looking at now, if we stay on this path, about 22,900. And the proposal with those annual contributions with the rest of the proposal, Kelly Deal will still be paid out of the commissary. She's an instructor, absolutely wonderful at her job. James Scott, he does the road crews, and the road crews is actually an inmate program because it's taking them outside, getting that work experience and whatnot. So that salary can start to come back out. And we just put it at 32 hours a week. And the reason we did that is days like today, a rainy day, you can't get out. And also he needs that training also. You know, he'll also have days that he has to train, but you know, whenever the rainy days, luckily today, even though it was a rainy day, he was able to take a couple of the inmates out and do maintenance on the mowers and whatnot. And then Mindy Smith, she's our Class D coordinator. And what she does is like all the classes that Kelly Deal teaches, she's the one that processes all the paperwork. She, you know, turns it in DOC. She also manages and looks over the road crew. She's the one that assigns, like when the road crews go out and pick up trash or cleaning or whatever they're doing mowing, she's the one that assigns them where they're going to go. And she has to report that all back to DOC. Not only does she do that, but also with the inside the facility itself, we have state inmates that work in the kitchen, they work in the hallways, they work in the commissary. So she has to add up all their numbers, turn them into DOC because they actually get good time for it and they get credit for it. So between the classes and the works, she focuses a lot. It's probably more than 50% of her time, but we have it at that right now. So annually, that would bring in, with those reimbursements, you're looking at $66,404, you know, and this is just a proposal for the third and fourth quarter. You know, we just from those three, be 33,202. So here's the kind of the quarterly projections in summary. Obviously, we know where we're at the first quarter. You know, we already have those numbers. And the projections for the third and fourth quarter, and even the second quarter, if there is no changes, you're looking at, and if we do get the changes with the third and fourth quarter, the deputy's salary net and the bookkeeper, you're looking at $981,769. And then you have that number, and if you subtract that total line, I think it's 2 and 3 on the budget, the bookkeeper and the deputy salaries of the $996,700, there's a difference of $14,930, which with the commissary contributions that have been paid into the $22,900, and also if these are amended, we can do the third and fourth quarter the way we propose, you're looking at $33,202. So the end of the year projection payroll savings would be $71,032.66. That's just the salary itself.
And add what percentage to that?
That's Jenny, their own guy.
It's around 47%.
47%?
Yeah, pretty high.
And what we
Yeah,
do,
because they are hazards.
Just about split it in half.
Hazard duty. Most of them are hazard duty, aren't
yes, sir.
You're gonna get it now.
Yeah, that's a Jenny
Be
question
about
there.
100.
That's a Jenny question there.
Oh.
It'll be about 100.
Take the 71. What I need to take the 47% out, Tim?
The 71.
Payroll,
71,
whatever his
32.
payroll would be.
That that last on the right.
71,032.66.
47. That's $33,385.
Oh,
It'll be plus
You take-
33,385.
You're not saving.
I don't understand.
You're not, that's right.
You're not saving. You still.
Well,
got-
which number do I need to
Say-
multiply the 47% by?
You're doing that on his payroll savings. You
Okay.
actually
That
need
needs
to
to
do
be-
that on the whole
Right.
payroll.
Which is
Be
equal
the-
If you're looking at the,
981?
yeah, the
981
981, 769.36.
times 0.47.
Mm-hmm,
Wow.
that adds to it.
$461,070.
I don't know.
pretty
What
Well-
high.
I don't have the budget in front of me to look at.
Is that
Hold
right?
on a minute.
I don't have the budget in front of me to be able to.
Well, you know, we have line items for that.
Hazard
Yeah.
duty is
Yeah, I was
high.
gonna say there's a line item for just that.
me a sec.
Well, there would be so much fringe already budgeted. isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah, there
figuring
is.
right
This is
now.
just trying to. And we did, when you look at these quarterly breakdowns, we did add in, the holiday pays and things like that in there. So, in the third quarter, there's holidays, second quarter, and also the fourth quarter, we added those holidays into those numbers.
Right now, the fringe budget is 441,000.
So 460 be about an increase another 20,000. So, all right, so that number would be reduced by about 20,000 is what we're saying.
Okay.
So,
That's still good.
Thank you.
Got any more questions or anything?
So what was the budget salary for this year?
The budgeted salary for the deputies is 966,000, and then the bookkeeper was 30,700, and that's a total of 996,700.
And when you say deputies, that's everything that's not on salary. right?
No,
That's not
that's
counting your salary.
no, that's not counting my salary. That's counting all the deputies.
What about-
That 966 is everybody that works at the jail except the bookkeeper. Then when you add in the bookkeeper of the 30,700, that's where we get the number of 996,700. For whatever reason, bookkeeper's on a separate line.
That's everybody except.
Yeah, that's everybody except me.
the
Well, can you go back to that page where it's got that?
Which one?
I think you had that on there. I think what Tim
That's
is
the
asking.
chief and the major.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
there.
This one here?
Right.
Yeah, that's everybody. I mean, that's everybody's by their rank structure. And at the bottom, that's where we have the bookkeeper.
So your 97 is not.
No, mine's not in part of that at all.
Not included in this 300.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. I just wanted to, that's in there.
No, it's not.
And that's what I mean. When we have all those with the deputies there and that number there, that's where we plugged it on onto this page.
Now, here are my questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. As part, it's good to project things and look ahead, and I appreciate this right here very much. I appreciate, I don't know who did this, but I appreciate the hard work that was put into it. I'm sure that you had a lot of input into it, and I appreciate that. And I'm thinking probably it was your chief deputy, or
Yeah.
you have a bookkeeper now?
Yeah, well, we've always had a bookkeeper.
Okay.
Chief deputy, she focused a lot on this over the last.
Anyway, we appreciate this.
Yeah. We just
I know
wanted you
I
to have
did, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
We do. Now,
Tell,
there's one thing to have long range, projections, but then you have to manage month by month,
Yes, sir.
okay? And so I don't know how many months now you've been in a deficit situation,
And that's what we're wanting to turn.
all right? So I guess what I'm saying to you, gentlemen, is, you got these here, but as the numbers come in on a monthly basis, you may have to adjust even more,
Oh, I understand.
because you can't wait for, with the situation that you're in and have been in for several months now. So, okay, 6 months down the road, I'm going to correct this. No, it's got to be corrected every month.
Yeah, that's what we're wanting to do. I mean, even this
Right.
end of the year
Am
savings
I
like
clear
that.
on that?
Yeah, I'm good on that, but like even this end of the year, I mean, this doesn't even include any of that CARES, money for the deputy.
Right.
That's none of that's even added in. I didn't want to, I don't know what that figure is.
Mark,
Jenny would
right.
have told me.
When you get this close, it ain't month to month, it's day by day.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not.
All right, when you're
I mean,
talking
month to
about,
month can kill you. It's day by
Yeah.
day.
so how many full-time deputies that's in the 966 number? Full-time, part-time?
all of
Well, Billy,
Really got it.
that's a good number, Billy.
Oh, I see.
well, I mean, you got it.
Well, he knows.
Yeah.
Of course, we know with the COVID, I mean, that had to be a tremendous.
Yeah,
Burn.
there's 34 there.
How many,
34.
full-time?
That's full and part-time. We have 2 off right now, that we still have on the books that are off on FMLA. Like right now with those ones, that would be 25 full-time. But with, but they work, we have some temp, we count them also as temporary full-time, in that for the salaries and whatnot. But with those 2 off, I mean, we have full-time working 23 and part-time would be 11. And
So
those part-time, all but 4 of them, including the bookkeeper, that includes the bookkeeper. She's just part-time. Then I have 3 that are strictly part-time. So that would bring it down to what, 7 that are temporary full-time, that they work the 40 hours, but they don't get the benefits right now. And you can keep them on that up to 1 year.
Okay.
And what happens is, and we try to rotate them over. I know me and Jenny, we talked a lot about this and getting them rotated over into that full-time position. Jenny says it saves on the back end. I believe that's what you said. And that's what we're trying to do. And right now with the spacing and whatnot, it's something I want to talk with Jenny about.
One thing, I know Mike, being the owner, the overtime, bottom line, they're gonna take advantage of you. I mean, if you've not learned that, they're gonna take advantage of you, and it's gonna kill you. I'm my own pot at the end, and I have to deal with it. But now you got to deal with it, and now we all gotta basically deal with it.
And that's what
So
that's our main focus. That we
and you
have
might as
got
well
to
get them
eliminate.
mad now and let them know. It can't.
Oh, they're aware.
I mean, that's what's one of the things that's killing you, and they're gonna take advantage of you if you let them. Because I know exactly what they'll do, because I've had it happen.
We've been employees before. We know.
But if we can get a go here and get this thing straight, we can come back at the end after it all settles down and get the ones that need a good salary, then they won't have to be begging for the overtime. That's what the goal is that I try to do, and that's what our ultimate goal is. We're gonna pay them good, but right now we don't need to pay overtime. And then you still got 34. There shouldn't be any reason to be any overtime.
And that's what
I don't think.
And that's what we got to.
But I'm not trying to run it. But if you had 34, and you said how many has to be at the jail at all times? 4?
4 on the shift, yeah.
There shouldn't be any,
Well, you got to think there's 4 on the shift, but
right. But I'm just saying, we got to really, for you to make this, and you're going to have to come back and present again another budget eventually. So you know what you're going to have to do.
Yes, sir.
It's not, we're not trying, these numbers, you don't have no choice but to make this work.
Yes, sir.
If you want a budget somewhat even what you got this time approved.
Yes, sir.
And not being mean to me. Mark said it, it's day by day. I don't even think month, it's day by day.
You're exactly right. That's how we look at it.
Month to month won't get it.
So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Okay. If you look at your variance between actual and budget for the first 6 payroll.
Yes.
Well, even if you net those 2 numbers, well, we just look at your deficits. You're $41,000 out of bed. So, and it's, that's for these first 6 payrolls. And if you back up months before that, you were at a deficit. In other words, your revenue was not covering your expenses.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so, but as I said, this is a positive right here. I'm so thankful to see that.
And this is what we want to work
To
for.
see that. And so I'm thankful to see that you're in there digging.
Well, and the great thing is, we have a command staff there now that we all have that same mindset. Somebody's calling off, it's like, hey, I got it covered, and because I'm salary, I'll cover that and I'll take off later on down the week.
So I guess,
and we all have that same mindset. I know Captain Boston, right outside the door there, she's a perfect example.
right.
I know she's worked all week and then has came back in, but as a captain, she's not on salary yet. That, that hurt us, but we need somebody. But, we have those people that are on salary that, come in. I know myself, the chief has worked the whole weekend before, not even to my knowledge, covering for people. When I come in, I've been here all weekend working, which is a good thing when you have employees like that want to do that. And that's right now the command staff that's come together at the jail, I'm very pleased with.
And so that seems to me like you're focused there.
And the good thing is that we explain the budget to them. So they see that budget. They're not like, oh, we got, hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, we don't. we have this money and that's it. That's it.
And so I am so glad you came today.
Thank you all for having me.
And I know this has probably helped me and helped Jeff and Billy and everybody here. And I hope that you don't mind to come back on month to month until we see a positive number.
Oh, no, I'll come back day to day, like Jeff said.
Well, I mean, I'm at Manny's.
Yeah, I know.
But
We're not picking.
But
on it.
again,
trying to
we're
get
in this
straight.
together.
That's what we
You know,
all
we're
want
in
that.
this together.
we got 5 of us here.
Here's the joke.
Mark,
They need to-
But here's what I'm.
Go ahead.
Mark,
My question is the two last people you hired, $87,000 salary. And a chief and a major.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You know, we also lost, our last captain who was in finances and whatnot. The big thing that lacked at Barron County Detention Center was knowledge and experience. When I got there, there was a humongous gap. You had guys that have maybe been there for a year to two, and then the next closest was about the 10-year mark. And those 10-year mark guys, and also going back to training, there was a gap of that middle portion that's really needed. But at the same time, they rushed those other people. So you had those guys that had been there 10 years that were on the top, then you had the guys at the bottom. So they lacked that experience. So the big thing that we had to bring in, when you look at some of these guys, Chief, she just finished up her master's degree and has that corrections experience, that know-how. Our major, he has experience from a great facility and made a decision to come to us, for almost less money when he does, come into work. Because the way the Barron County Detention Center is going, we have great people like Captain Boston that truly stepped up. She was commissary when I first got there, was working in commissary. Little did I know, she knows spreadsheets, she knows this, she understands money, she understands budgets, and we start getting that experience. We also have another young man, Keith Tenzing. He's actually working on his doctorates right now. He's one of the ones that is a captain right now. So they have, and his is all in corrections. His is all within corrections, whether it's Department of Corrections or some of the local facilities. He's bringing that experience to us, and at the same time, he's a very forward thinker, and they really all are, but we're getting that experience that we've lacked. And in doing so, we've also cut back on some of our employees. So we don't have as many employees, because I'd much rather have quality than quantity. So right now, what we're focused on is getting that quality that has that knowledge and experience. But the main thing is with those guys, they're teaching our deputies, not only passing on that knowledge and experience, but to get that true understanding of what a jail works. Even with the deputies, we have to explain, the budget, so they get that true understanding of why we do everything and how all the gears match up to make that big place, function properly.
Is that two positions we've always, I don't know, Billy, you might can answer it. Is that two positions we've had in the past? Judge?
No, they haven't had any positions in the past. It was the jailer, and sometimes you'd have a chief, and then maybe a captain, then there'd be sergeants, lieutenants. It was kind of all over the place. So that's the big thing we want to do, is establish that chain of command.
Well, there's been chief deputies, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I said. They've
Actually
been,
got that wrote down there on this page.
well, they're probably previous.
Right, and there was.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It was kind of hit and miss, but they've been there. Then sometimes that position may not have been filled.
I just have a few things to point out. We go back to the individuals that's listed for budget request amendments. I think I spoke, and I've been very honest and upfront about my concerns, but when you look at the fairness of raises, you got one you're offering $10,040 raise to. If you take the top person there, you're asking for $37,000, and keep in mind, the fiscal court voted no to pay this individual $37,000, so that can't happen. And we've been very upfront with that. Decided on the $35,000 salary. So, and I'm also concerned with the two that you're taking money out of their pockets. That concerns me a lot when you think about when you're offering $10,000 to somebody and you're taking $5,000 out of somebody's pocket. that really concerns me. So, I just don't know about the fairness, and really, if we're gonna be over budget at the end of the year, I can't support this page right here. I just can't do it. You know, we just listened to one of our departments who we know is gonna be to the good, who's only asking for a fraction for his folks. You know, probably won't even cover the cost of living increase. So again, in court, I said it again, the fairness of these raises, the fairness. You know, I don't know, y'all might have something.
And
How do
that's-
these people feel that you're taking money from?
It was explained to them, what happened during the restructure. Basically, we had, two people come in from the outside, a major from one facility and a chief deputy for another. And that's where that knowledge was coming from. And they basically sat down, they had an oral board and went over, you know, basic operations of the jail and with the knowledge. And everybody had, you know, that right to sign up and to, you know, go in there for that interview process. And those two did not make it at that time for those positions.
Are there
And they were, and
responsibilities being lowered,
yes, sir, they were.
but they're not their time? Not hours, it's salary, right?
Yeah, it's salary.
$10,000, awful big raise.
And if we look at him, that's Mr. Tenzing that I was talking about. He came in, you know, as a deputy where everybody starts off at. He had years in corrections. He tested for lieutenant. He made lieutenant. Then we had a position for a captain to open up, and he tested for that and made that position. So there's actually missing a pay raise in there because it wasn't approved.
Who was there?
That's the K Tenzing,
Okay.
the fourth one down. He's the gentleman I was talking about earlier, you know, working on his doctorate right now.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be honest with you, in the county, the morale's really down in the jail. And of course, that's just talk. And I'm just curious if it's because of these people taking money from some people and giving it to somebody else.
And I know you gotta pay experience.
Yeah, we gotta
But when
keep
you
that
got
in mind.
people that's been there several years, and you bring people in new, and you pay them more, I mean, to me, I just don't see the fairness in that. I really don't. And then the two names that I see there in the red, I know they've worked tirelessly to get to where they're at.
They have, and I'm not denying that at all. I mean, the top one there in the red has done extremely well. Initially, did not make the promotion, and then, you know, now she's in the position she's in, and then the other one, exactly, she's done absolutely wonderful. I
They were
won't take,
demoted.
because it goes back to that knowledge of basic jail operation stuff that even in their longevity of being there at the time, we're not familiar with.
I mean, they've been there several years, or,
Yes,
and people you just brought in got more knowledge, experience, or more knowledge, you say, than somebody that's been there several years.
yes, sir.
That's sad.
And you know, and that's what happened is they weren't provided that opportunity for those training. When I first took over the jail and I just asked for the training records, I had absolutely nothing at Barron County Detention Center on training records.
As far as my comment, if here's the problem with, it wouldn't even have to probably be a big issue, but that -177 is the killer that we're looking at. I know you're gonna change that, but that's the
Yeah, and that's
killer
what-
for us to be,
What's the
to
fairness?
really look and get excited about this. If it was not 177, you know, this year running to jail, you ought to be able to do, but you know, we can't be fair to the whole county. I know you got elected to do what you gotta do, but we got elected to do what we gotta do.
Yeah, I
And
understand that.
it's, so when you got the first 3 months and then this, I mean, I can't support it either, but on the other hand, probably, you know, but I guess, Mark, we gotta have evidence that it can be changed. Look at, this probably don't need to happen until 3 more months and we can see that it's gonna change. I'm just talking. I
Have
mean,
you already given these raises?
No,
this is
No.
for
Not on any of
Budget
this.
requested
No,
amendment.
This is what was requested out of you all.
Remember, they said they were gonna come to us, and this is what he's suggesting.
Okay, but on the first one, you proposed 37, we only approved 35.
Yeah,
So
That got approved, correct, the 30, we
35.
got talked about that.
35 was approved.
Because
Not the
here's
37.
how that works. guys.
Okay,
He's already started work. I called the Keiko lawyer, you gotta pay him something. Okay, the court only took action not to pay $37,000, which was the request. Aaron called me, Jenny, we talked about, it, saying, okay, where do we need to put it? Because he was brought in as a major. Obviously, you can't start him out on the bottom.
No,
So we come to the conclusion of 35, because the court did not discuss 35, only 37. So that can't go, because we've already took action not to pay this gentleman $37,000. That's the official action of the court.
And those two ladies will be cut $7,000 between them,
yeah.
5 and 2. Thing of it is, I know it's rough to work in a jail. But they're making a lot more than most employees in the county. Not counting, I'm talking about just regular employees. I'm not talking about department heads.
Your chief deputy is the highest department.
well,
Under me.
Mark,
Yeah,
so
Than
I
anybody
guess,
we have.
I guess what I'm looking at right now, then.
And debt service, 497,000 annual
Yeah,
debt
right,
service.
and we're not touching that, see, I mean, that, we kind of give you a get out of jail free card there for this year,
And that's,
but for next year, I think it's got to be part of your number. I'm just gonna state it right now. So you need to be
yeah,
planning.
that's what we're
Can this-
focused on trying.
can this be something to look at, but y'all? If you're already saying you're gonna have to lessen some numbers. So if he lessens the number, that's gonna take money out of the pot. Can we not come back and look at the table? If that happens, and you're gonna lower these numbers, if you lower numbers, then that's gonna be, somebody's not gonna get paid, so that's gonna be in a pot. Then we can come back and look at this. Does that make sense to you all?
yeah.
And we're gonna work hard to put that overtime above and beyond back in
Right.
the budget.
And we wanna,
So we
yes,
can-
and if we can see that number, and if you, I know I don't wanna have to get rid of people, but sometimes we have to do stuff that this is just life. If you're gonna have to decrease these numbers, then you're gonna have more in the pot. Then we can look at these raises and then get what you want. Get the right people you want in there, you won't need all of them.
In other words, we could vote for X number of deputies, and that would be all he'd have.
We could do that.
Yeah, we
We
could
got
do
a
that.
number for you now that's higher than what you got, but we
Oh,
can,
we don't even touch that number.
And I touched it. You said 34, didn't you?
but
He's got 25 full-time, 7 part-time.
11 part-time.
Huh?
Altogether, 11 part-time, 25
11.
full-time.
Okay.
so we,
So is there any, I'm sorry, is there any in that number that you can live without?
I'd have to go back and look. I just can't say I'd let this one or that one off. I mean, right now with the jail operations, we're slim on the picking with people and getting the right people in there.
And I get that. I mean,
I will say, right now, we got some great deputies. We really do. We got some great deputy jailers.
but I can't approve this, the $20,000 raises now. No way. No way. I mean, you're operating at a deficit now.
The two
We can't
higher-
add 20 to it,
Plus premium.
I mean,
right? I mean, am I missing something?
Well, with them going to salary, that was going to be the focus of cutting back on that overtime, where that money's coming from.
How many hours do these high-priced people put in?
I'd have to get the time cards, but you're looking at, 40, 60.
Well, in essence, in your mind, that'd be a pay cut.
What's that
That'd be a pay cut because you're not paying that overtime.
for the budget? Yes, not paying overtime. That's what we want to eliminate is the overtime.
So is this your proposals? The budget requested amendment, you're proposing?
That was mine. Yes, sir.
Okay, so do I hear a motion on even presenting this to the fiscal court? Hearing none. It's not gonna be able to be on the agenda. But I will say is, Budget Chairman Mark Billy, that we'll be willing to, if we see numbers, if we want to look at month by month, and we see numbers start coming back and getting back into your budget, then yes, we would be supportive of any type of pay increase, but to be fair to,
So you're not gonna, I just want to make sure I understand, there won't be any pay increases for the positions.
no budget requested amendments. We don't have a motion, it can't go to the next. I mean, this is what this committee's for. If it came out of the committee, but it's not even coming out of the committee to go to the fiscal court, and we got 5 here and we didn't get a motion. We've got 2 committees here. I mean, we're legal with what our numbers here. We only got 1 out of the 6 and we've got the numbers here and we don't have the motions. It won't be presented, so it's 214 and that's what you presented. We appreciate your showing us what you got planned to do. And we'll be glad to have, as the months come and see the numbers turn around, then we can, it'll be brought back up. Anything you want to bring back to the committee each month. I mean, if you want to bring it back next month, we'll look at it again.
Let's not remember, the state said he needs 53 employees to run the jail properly, is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
He's not at 53, so let's give him credit for that.
Sure.
It's run by like.
We're looking at numbers here. We're not trying to be mean in the numbers.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we can look
Because
at.
Bennett, I mean, are we missing something? I mean, are we missing something?
Well, I mean, with what we're trying to do with those individuals being on salary, like I said, is trying to eliminate that overtime. But as long as, because they can come in and flex, if I'm on salary and, hey, we got one going to the hospital, instead of calling somebody in that's off work that's paid hourly to be able to come in, now they're getting overtime. Say they call me, I come in and get them. It's not, hurting the budget or anything like that with the ones on overtime. And we do have some of the guys on there that was promoted to lieutenant, and he was doing, since he got promoted into that position, was going to get paid what that position paid. And he's been at that position, for, a couple months now, and he hasn't seen a dime of it. He actually lives in your district. And I'm sure he's gonna call you and say, I'm a lieutenant.
Mhm.
He runs a ship. And, so I mean, he's gonna have questions, for it.
Well, really, that's not questions for us to answer. That's for you to answer.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that.
That's,
And you're involved.
we're out of budget.
Yeah.
And it's our job to get you
And
back.
that's what this proposal was for, to get that back, like I said, to be that 71,000 in the, in the good. And then, like you said, already the 40 and then another 20, we're still in the good. And that's what that plan was for, even with, those promotional positions, is to end up in the good, because that's where we want to be. Because with no changes, if it's how it is now and trying to cut, I mean, I hate to lay, I don't want to lay people off if we don't have to, especially with the amount of people that we got. But that's why those positions were put in place with the amount of money that each position makes. And this proposal to look at that, to bring those numbers back down, because we don't want to stay on the same track that we were on the first quarter by any means. And, and that was just even on that first page. Yeah, Bart, I got one here, I'm sorry. Even on the first page of that, from the last finance committee, it says financial impact if this continues. And that's what we want to change, is that if. We don't want to continue that. And that was, what you all saw the last finance committee meeting. And this was that proposal and amendments to try to get that to change and to bring those numbers back down on track to be in the plus, to start making up, like you said, for that deficit, not only of this year, but of previous years.
Well, salary for these different positions, are they set from the state or the county or you or?
Just me.
And we never had this before. Aaron was elected. So, something new.
Okay, thank you for your report, and if the judge sees that he needs to have a line item, next court meeting, he can put that on a line item. He is the judge, so if he sees fit, he can put a line item and we can discuss it more, but as far as the committee, there's nothing else that we can do at this time to approve anything on that. Thank you for your time, and we'll go on to our next committee meeting. Presentation, County Judge Executive.
All right, I'll pass up a couple of things. I didn't make copies for you all, but I can get copies. Let's go with, what's the agenda say? Just me. Okay. I'll start with, current staff. It's under me. And then we'll go to road department next. Here you go, Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Jenny, could you get me 2 more copies for them?
Well, they need
Well,
it.
you all can see. Oh, careful.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can look off Mark.
I won't let me look
It
at it.
didn't take a second.
Yeah, just
I
take
gotta
a
break
just
it
take a
up.
second.
Stand it.
Take a second. You'll see it on the next.
I know I'm a type one, but
I'm gonna tell you what, boy,
Can he mute it a minute? Let's take a break. a second.
$10,000 raise. is a whole lot, I'm telling you.
Mute that just a second, Tracy.
I'm gonna take, here, we need a break, 2 seconds. I
Okay.
wanna get some fresh air. You said yours wouldn't want to be too long. Let's take a minute.
How long we don't say much?
Oh, you. Yeah, you just talking over me.
Yeah, you look like a doctor now. He set his own salary.
I look like a what?
Hey, when he come in, we give him that 300,000, that's when he
Okay, to let everybody know out there on Facebook Live, we're muted right now. We're just taking a small intermission. So we'll be back in here shortly.
You're right. Okay, we're back, a few minutes break here, and Judge is going to present to the committees his paperwork.
I've sort of laid out, and I'm just doing it, what you asked, Chairman. So the first sheet that you have is who is actually under my management now. If you know the treasurer, our other two ladies, we've already gave earlier on, so
Yes.
they're not on this list, okay? Out beside this, I have got job duties of what they're actually doing, now this isn't all of it. This is just a kind of an overview of what some of them do, okay? That way, and you have a better understanding. And two, these are just requests. It's, again, it's your all's decision. But I've got two question marks on two of them. And again, I don't want to name any names. I don't think that's fair to anyone. But, I was just undecided on those. So I put a question mark on them. Okay. That's why the question mark's on there. But the rest of them, that's kind of where I'm at versus their responsibilities. That I don't think it's asking a whole lot. As far as I know, we're in budget. We work hard to stay in budget. So
On that building inspector, is that plumbing, electrical and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's everything. Everything. And two, of course, you all know building's booming, so he's paying his way pretty much.
Well, yeah, I agree. We had this to come up. I was hoping that we could have looked at that in the beginning in this dilemma here, but
Emergency management,
I don't have
he
a-
does anything you want him to do.
Oh, does
I mean, you can ask him to do anything, he can do it.
can do anything.
well,
He
I
can do
would
anything, too.
think,
You're right.
Jenny, there's a lot to look at in his department too. I know that a lot of it's in business hours that he's doing, but I would think he needs to be something compensated on a lot of the extra stuff that he's having to
And
do.
I'm looking for guidance from you all. Because
Well, I
like I say, you all know what they do for you. You
On
know,
the first one there,
Yeah.
how long's it been since he's had it?
he gets the percentage, whatever's built into the
We've done
budget.
that 3% last year, not this year.
I guess this is not really for us, so this is just really for the budget.
Right.
Well, but you all got it.
You're all gonna hear it.
You can hear it.
So it's good you're saying it.
Hey, it's joint committee, so I want to hear your, you know.
I hear it, I make a motion to accept right what you got here.
Well, I think,
That's my motion.
We're gonna do the two questions.
There's that.
Well, that's totally up to y'all. I mean, that's,
I wouldn't mind adjusting
I'd like to look at the question.
yeah, the question mark, adjusting the.
that's
I'm-
totally up to y'all.
We're gonna have to, really look at if they're in the budget line, and we don't see anything out of the budget line, and we see a lot of responsibilities on the line item one that we're looking at there, and the attitude has been great, working with everybody that I've seen,
yeah,
and,
I don't even.
I look
have-
at stuff like that,
I don't even have,
people
EM on there.
seem happy with what they're doing. I hear a lot of positive on the other question mark down in the middle of the page, all across the county that,
48.
most people. But,
Yeah.
I just deal with contractors and stuff, and everything seems to be going in that line.
I think that in the middle is good. I think he's good there, my opinion.
we talking about, revealing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
I
we
think
only
you
do
do
so
too.
much, how much is, this part, the city's doing some, correct? I thought they give, cause
Now they keep a portion for the office that he's in. Other than that, the rest of it's turned over to us.
But that's a pretty good salary, 71. I think we need
well,
to
you
adjust.
gotta look at that. The reason I'm looking at that one is he doesn't have, he could be having a helper right now and he have to salary that.
Mhm.
And he don't,
Yeah,
and it's major, in my opinion.
well, he does a
And
good
we
job.
asked
I
him, we
can't say
said
about
we would
that.
let you, and he just wants to do it,
And two, you,
So
one
we
thing that Judge Greer told me coming in, he's got the education.
Yeah,
to
he
do.
knows all
Yeah,
about
man.
it.
It's hard
We
to
could be-
find somebody like that.
We could be easy looking at 15 to 20,000 paying for part-time
Assistant.
on that is not in there. And you know that it actually needs to be in there, but he wants to do it himself.
Yeah. And he does a good job. I mean, he does.
Oh, yeah.
He gets on it.
We
quick,
would know
so-
if you did.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I
You
think-
would for sure, Jeff.
Well, you just
Yeah.
know. There's not ever.
I think we ought to give him a little more money.
Does he work?
Good
any
question,
overtime?
Mark.
I don't know
I'm
why
sorry?
we.
Does he work any overtime? He got a
He has
8 to 5 schedule.
I think he.
There's no telling how much he works.
That's what I'm asking.
Mhm.
It's never ending.
I mean, I think he tried. I mean, I think his phone rings a lot. As far as going out, I don't know. I'm sure he would accommodate people. I don't know.
I know
I
he
could
don't.
get that, but I wasn't prepared, but I could
Okay.
answer those questions. I'd have to get it and get it back to you guys.
Well, if you all want to just kind of think about this, or if you want to put something on this now for proposal to court, I'm good, whatever y'all want to do. Like I said, this is just for your all's consideration. I just needed a little help with those two. You know,
I'm just sharing my opinion on it, you know, I would, what you proposed on the one that you proposed, on the, let's just say line item 2, I would propose at least that much on line item 1 and 1, 2, 3, and line item 4.
I tell you what I do, I just do a flat 3% on both,
What way?
Plan for it,
3%.
on the two question marks.
yeah.
On all of his proposals or just the 2?
Just the two.
Just the 2, he's already adjusted the others.
How was
And-
that to be? How much that be?
Yeah, what is that? If
Well, the
done?
first one was good, it's 1440. I make it 49,440.
Yeah,
And the other one,
yeah. I
I made
mean,
it 73, 232. All right, Jenny?
I didn't do it. I was going
I
to.
mean, they both do a good job. Super.
What
What
would
was
be
that
that
figure?
number on that?
You can't find people every day to work.
33, 49,440. Jenny, you check me.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
So that's on that. I think Tim made a motion to, you'll have to ask him about his motion though.
I just thought we said at the beginning of this year, we we're gonna give any raises. till all
We
this
did.
COVID stuff is over.
We did.
We did.
And we're,
I just think we're just not doing what we agreed to.
we're not, but we agreed that we would look at the individuals, and it's not like that we didn't get any money back from the state. We've already got one lick back. We didn't know that at the time when we said we wasn't gonna give raises. We didn't know we were gonna get a penny back. So we were getting back what they're turning in. So the way I look at it is we're starting, I mean, it's not affecting anything to where we can look at this. And I thought one of our goals as far as our committee that, I know y'all are in the jail, is we're beginning to look at, we know that we're gonna have to start, if we're gonna have the quality people, we've gotta pay them the price, or another counties. This one particular person right in the middle could go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody would love it. But,
He loves it.
I'm just, think we need to,
It's up to you all.
it's changed. Yes, Tim, I agree. We did say we didn't, but we are getting, so far, unless we don't get the second batch back from COVID, we are getting some money back for the each department that's turning in. So in fairness of the ones that are, and then we're the only committee that's probably gonna look at it to do that. So I'm in favor of, if Mark wants to, the ones that the judge is presenting here, and then do the 3% on the other two. If I can get a motion on that, we can go from there.
I'll make the motion.
Billy, you gonna have a second? All in favor? I say aye. Motion carries. So do that need to be all you're wanting to present on any of your,
I got the road department.
okay, that's
It's
just your,
yeah,
okay.
that's everyone that's under me, under my supervision.
So will that be under my line, when we go to the fiscal court? Will this be under my line item, I guess? So I'll need to make sure I get them numbers when I do the.
Yeah.
Make sure that I don't miss
Okay, and then
Okay.
Mark, Jed,
when I present my report.
Road department.
Billy. Got one. I've got one.
Here they have it.
And I've been able
Let
to,
me look at it real quick.
I'm on my 4th week there. I do want to say that I've heard you all over the years, past few years. Hey, we want an efficient, a speedy, good job. So I didn't put any names. I did put what I have evaluated of what their capabilities are. As I told them, everyone is a road supervisor from this point forward. they have stepped up. They have, I got it, well, I'm sitting here now and I know what they're doing. And it's wet today. So Tim, matter of fact, you know what was going on this morning. But anyway, I have made some proposals. I will tell you, I am a little weak in the Class A, you know, because if you have some folks to take off that has the Class A, we can't legally haul a certain amount of weight down the road with Class B. So we've got way more operators than I thought we had, and it just goes in. They've got the opportunity now. So
How many do you have in Class A?
currently, we have 2, myself 3. That's it. That's it. Everybody else is Class B. I'd like to eventually get everybody to Class A, which is something that we are working on. I have also in there, you see crew leaders. Those are the folks that have stepped up, that I have pretty much put over the crews. The crews are coming in now at 6:37 and 7:30. That way they're not mixing and mingling. If one got the virus, we'd have to quarantine all of them and the department would be shut down. So 4 here, 4 there, 2 there, you know.
That's a good idea there.
Just think
I mean, I didn't think about it, but
more productive that way.
yeah.
Again, they know what they're supposed to be doing. I feel now that we have a mechanic that's just saved us money so far with his troubleshooting capabilities. He has fixed things that I've been wanting to fix for 5 years, I know, and wasn't even asked to do it. So anyway, there it is.
Can you tell me about B and G, just, is there just a reason?
Yes, yes. That is where not stepping up.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
be told a few times. Just to be very honest with you.
Well, they never have been made to work. I don't think. You got a hold of them. I mean, that's the way I've always looked at it.
I would certainly, I like these numbers, and I'd like to see these numbers, what you've done within the next 6 months, probably be doing these same percentages if you saw fit to do that again, and possibly tell them that we will be looking, and you're gonna know by then, and if there's new road superintendent, that, because we're going, I mean, you already know what, it's gonna be another county, or it's gonna be the city, or somebody's gonna be getting these. They're gonna float back and forth. We gotta get these numbers even better than what we're looking at here, or you're gonna have the nightmare of
Turnover.
dealing with it. If we don't have the turnover and have the right people, then it's gonna satisfy you all that has these big road districts. We're gonna have the right people in staff to take care of it and take care of our people that we're representing in the county.
Go ahead, Mark. I'm
Are you
sorry.
looking at hiring a road supervisor and an operating manager, or?
I'm a firm believer in people promoting themselves if they're capable of it. I feel right now we can promote an operations manager within our fleet. Again, with the folks that are stepping up and taking responsibility. You know, the only problem I have now is I don't have enough equipment for everybody to run. I mean, because I've got operators.
I know one that we need to buy.
We've got operators. We need 2 of them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I mean, those 2 guys, they've got their responsibility, and that's what they do. They don't do nothing else. So,
But they only have one boom tractor.
That's right.
So there we go again on like we talked about the sheriff, we need that other ready to go, because when that's down, you know how important that is.
We could use two every day.
But I'm just
Oh, yeah,
saying,
we
we need at least one, and if that goes down, and he's already saying he's got the people that can run it.
Something like that. But if you think about, also I put on their proposal for potential hires. Those are just two people that was turned in applications that, I mean, we had several, I narrowed them down to two. You know, that's their capabilities.
They have to have okay, but in future reference, or you say you're not gonna hire anybody that doesn't have a class B?
I would like for them to at least have their permit. You know, because they have 6 months from there, within that 6 month period, they've got to go for their class B. So we're now just saying, hey, we get a lot of people that applied that don't even have a permit. So we're just really not looking at those. So, because it really doesn't do you any good, because we got air brake trucks we got to drive. So anyway, that's what I've got. That's where we're at. I am gonna have to have at least one more, because when you work Maxie into this equation for snow routes, we're gonna be one person short, and that's including myself in this too. So I will have to have one more person just to cover snow routes.
Well, I can hear the morale's better down there than it has been. I don't have to say.
Good.
I don't like bragging on the judge, but really.
So you're saying one of these would be the one more you need, or one more after these two?
No, just one of those.
One of those.
I don't like anybody on that.
Well, I make a motion that what the judge has wrote down here is what we present to the court.
I'll second.
Mark, seconds it, all in favor?
Uh,
Gonna be on the agenda too.
That's all I have.
So I guess we'll just do that as a lump sum road department,
Okay, yeah,
increases.
Yeah.
We won't go into, details.
Yeah.
And in the same way on this, his report on that, what to say.
Our contract board was at State City about Tuesday after about 2 o'clock on Highway 90 out the call.
They are at, they're in March District. It's not cold then.
There you
Do you have any more? Okay, so guys, what we'll do is, Judge don't have anything else. I need a motion to adjourn. Second.
So moved.
So moved. All right. See
All
you.
right,
Thank you, Tracy.